of bass, almost soloing, which we never dared to do before. And I just keep on trying to push the envelope as far as my range, as far as the differences of
what's
tonality.
new with you, right?
There's a couple things different on this record. First and foremost would be the lyrical delivery. In previous records, and every previous Disturbed record, the lyrical composition has been much more cryptic, much more open to self-interpretation. This record is much more wearing my heart on my sleeve and very much a storytelling.
Was that scary for you to let it all hang out, so to speak?
In many ways.
I'm sure. You got a lot of fans that, you're opening it up and letting them in a little bit more, and that has to be a little terrifying, I would think.
I think that it's necessary. I've always been willing to bare my soul for what we do, but I almost needed it more this time. I came through a very difficult time during the Indestructible.
Yeah, I had spoken to you previously, about 2 months ago for an interview, and you had said that you went through a depressed period, and that's it's difficult when you're in it. You feel like the only way out is through. I believe Trent Reznor says, and when you're walking through that tunnel, it's hard. And I think for you to say that and to put that in the music, there's a lot of fans out there who are going to kind of really latch onto that, and I think that's really powerful. So. Is there anything you want to say just about that process or about what you went through and how the music or what you were doing?
It needs to be said, so let's definitely talk about it. December of the previous touring cycle, my former fiance left me. And that was the beginning of this perfect storm of crap that
shit happening, right?
Yeah.
The worst.
My best friend at the time of 5 to 7 years betrayed me and forged documents in a business deal we had together and threw me under the bus big time. And so that was another stab. My touring companion of 7 years and the love of my life, my dog Lisa, I had to put her to sleep on the music as a weapon.
Probably the most painful, I bet, out of all those scenarios.
Was incredibly painful. She was only 7 years old.
Yeah, that's young for a dog.
And she fell to osteosarcoma, really aggressive bone cancer, and I saw her degrade over 2 weeks' time. And
your heart was probably aching. Mine hurts right now talking about it.
It was horrific. So then I go ahead and because of that void, I placed an order with a breeder in Arizona for another puppy, another Akita puppy. And we even named her right away. We called her Angel. And they were sending me puppy pictures of her like a proud daddy, so I'm attached.
Yeah, of course.
I started a new relationship with a wonderful girl, and we hit a speed bump. So when I came off tour, I had intended for her to move in with me. And I intended to get my new puppy and started, again.
Great things surrounding you.
And the puppy, Angel, died in transit to me. She had kennel cough or something, and she died.
And Root, you were like so prepared and
ready. And then obviously because of the speed bump in the relationship, my girlfriend didn't end up moving in with me at that point in time. It took another 8 months to get to that point again. So I came home off of tour, moved into my new home in Austin, moved from Chicago, where I only knew 1 or 2 people, and I'm in this big empty house with no dog, no significant other, and just spiraled into this depression.
It just seems like the recipe was right there. You had all the ingredients for a depressed bout.
The first 3 songs that were penned lyrically were the title track, Asylum, which is about the memory of a lost loved one driving you to the brink of madness. And yet that memory is a haven for you.
A
safe place you go to when times are tough.
It's like a dual-edged sword. It's like you need it, but you can't get away from it. Yeah, it's painful.
Followed by the Infection, which talks about the depression itself being a debilitating entity that eats away inside of you that you have to destroy in order to survive. And then followed by a song called Crucified, which talks about how you feel post the breakup of a relationship, where you're still attached to the person and find yourself unable to move on, as if you're nailed to the cross. So these were the first 3 songs penned, to which my guitar player Danny called me and he's like, "Dude,
okay?
Are you all right?"
Right. Yeah, that was like a sign right there for him, like a flashing light, like check in.
Yeah.
I mean, and the reason why I bring that up, and you're sharing such intimate details with us, I think that it's important too, because you probably have a lot of fans out there that are going through similar things, maybe not exactly the same, but they might listen to these songs and that might be what pulls them up by their bootstraps. And that's why I feel it's really important to talk about that, because, you know, breakups are like, you know, that's the most common topic in rock music. But when you hear like somebody, you know, people relate to you now knowing that, you know, you had that same experience. And I think that makes the album that much more immediate, you know, and, you know, knowing that that's what you went through and that you put that out there. And I think that's really, really brave and courageous. And I think that your fans will really click knowing that and seeing you talk like that.
I hope so. I mean, to me, the music has always been a tremendous source of catharsis for me personally, and my salvation in many ways. You know, I think the reason, after the charmed existence I've led from time to time, that I haven't been institutionalized up to this point is because I have
music to get it out there. Right. I always say, like, I listen to like really aggressive music because it gets the red out, so that way, you know, I can go play with puppies and kitties after, because I'm not so pent up and angry. So a couple other questions I want to ask you. Like, I always, you know, like to ask a couple of not so serious questions, and I always, you know, this is like your trademark. What do you call the double labret? Have you ever pierced yourself with it? Has it ever gotten caught on anything in any interesting? Well, I mean, okay, yes, that's kind of what I was thinking, but maybe I won't go there.
Well, when I go down for detail work, I take them off so I don't injure myself or others.
Detail work, I like that. That's a good one. So, okay, so you know, there's probably female fans that are like, they got something to think about later.
These are not ticklers.
Yeah,
they won't work in that way.
So you take them off when you go do your detail work.
It can be very hazardous, because if I bend down like this, see, they just swing.
Right. Oh, and that's kind of that's kind of an area that you have to be sensitive to. Yes. So how long have you had? I just find them to be really. You don't really see too many people with them.
Since 2000.
So you had them since, you know, since
literally when we officially knew that we had our deal, and I knew I could quit my job.
Right, and you could look like and have something cool like that, right?
There were two things I did right away: shaved my head, and did the piercing that I had been thinking of for the longest time. Right,
so you've got that's great. It was like, you know, almost like a symbol of you being able to go pursue that dream and that career. So you take them out, and is it like, I don't know, has anybody? Do you find people looking at you, like little kids looking at you strange when you're in the supermarket?
At everywhere. Whether people know who I am or not, these are right in your face.
Yeah, those are you can't kind of ignore
those.
And
people are like, you know, what the hell is with that guy, or look at the freak, or you know, or wow, that's really cool. I get compliments on it quite a lot from people who have no idea who the band is or who I am, and that's maybe, you know, my favorite thing is when people appreciate the individuality and they appreciate that it does stand out.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it definitely is, you know, it's eye-catching. People like look at it, you know what I mean? It isn't, you're kind of like, and when you showed me when you go down, like, you know.
They swing up like that.
Yeah, right. They kind of like, they look like a weapon.
Well, they were actually made custom specifically to the shape of my chin, so that if I, God forbid, am struck, that they don't go in.
Oh, and they don't cut you, right?
They're
or
just long enough, but not too long to where I would actually impale myself.
Right. Yeah. You don't need that. You know, in the middle of like maybe your guitar, the headstock hits you or something.
Could ruin your day.
Yeah, exactly. So, do you have a new canine friend after Angel had tragically passed? What do you have now?
His name is Gabriel.
Gabriel.
I used another angelic name.
Yes, right. Is he an Akita?
He's a male Akita. I went to the shelters and humane societies all over Austin right when I found out about Angel's passing, and tried to find a dog I could connect with, and you know, and I was really still stuck on getting an Akita. I love the breed, and I ended up exhausting my search as far as a rescue was concerned, unfortunately, which would have been my first choice.
Me too. I'm the same way, because they need you, you know what I mean? But sometimes it's not always an optimum situation if you don't have kids or whatever.
Right. But I ended up finding a family that had a new Akita litter, and it wasn't really a breeder, but just a family in a home in Fort Worth. And I sped up there, you know, 3-hour drive, got a ticket